Guess who's back, back again.
we see
Ryan's back.
we had Geno sing that so we don't face copyright issues. Uh, but yeah, I'm back, man.
Glad to have you, Brian. It's been a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
What have you been up to, sir?
Not much. I celebrated my birthday, which was fun. And just busy and getting ready for our gala next week, Elis Gala. So yeah, it's a busy time.
A-list gala next week. Nice. Maybe I'll finagle my way to get in there somehow. Say hello, people. Maybe next year. Maybe next year, Havas will be on the A-list. So
Right.
that's the goal.
Right. That's the best way to get in there. Is just
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Cool, man. Well,
yeah.
I want to get right into it because
Yeah.
we want to make sure people are informed. They know what's going on with the industry because the best way to break in and thrive in this industry is to know what's going on, to nerd up, I call it. And that's what the purpose of this is. For those that are just joining, Brian, senior reporter at Ad Age. Is that still the title? Did you get promoted to the chief editor yet?
Not yet. Janine's done a great job. So I'm not, I don't think I'm barking up that tree at all. But no, man, look, same title, same position, but news constantly changing. So I have a lot of fun stuff to talk to you about.
And that's the name of the game. So it's been 3 weeks. How this will work. We've got an agency headline of the week. We'll get into rapid fires. I think we're going to call it gas or pass because it's 420.
Yeah.
And
Retweet,
then
retweet your favorite smoking spot, and tag, tag, no, I don't know. But
and then we'll get into special topic and then any announcements. Looking at about 30 minutes. You want to kick us off, Brian, with anything else there that we're missing?
No, I think we can get right into it, man. And this first one, agency headline of the week, is a big one, I thought. So the headline itself, new ad agencies are opening rapidly, inside the trend and how they can survive. Now this was Big Star, wonderful reporter Lindsay Rittenhouse, who we had on here. And it was interesting. We were sitting around and we get hundreds of pitches a day, right? And what's been happening more is we're getting more pitches on new agency launches, and we're writing more stories on new agency launches. And oftentimes these are small agencies, 2 to 5 people that are starting, and it's just becoming more of a trend, So instead of doing like one story on one agency, we were like, let's talk about why this trend is happening and can the industry support so many new agencies, right? Because that's the other thing. Like in a world where, marketing budgets maybe are decreasing and things like that, why are we seeing an influx of new agencies, And the truth is it's a few factors, we're seeing agencies try to hone in on a niche, so like, there's one agency, Local Heroes, that they focus solely on like local businesses, and there's another that focus on like senior living, marketing. And, someone mentioned to me like an agriculture marketing agency and Gen Z agencies are popping up more and more. And, we're just seeing really big executives like Suzanne Powers, who, former chief strategy officer, chief product officer at McCann World Group, launch her own creative consultancy. And that's another thing, like these consultancies popping up and people not really billing themselves as agencies anymore, but still having that creative expertise. And, so it's an interesting one. There's about 13,000 agencies in the US, according to a report that we cited. And, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Any first thoughts on that? Like, I just think it's something that especially students should pay attention to, as they look at which agency should they be working at,
Yeah, it is interesting. Is this new is my question.
I,
Is there a surge or is this just something that is being covered more because of technology and social media and our access to information? Like, is this a new phenomenon?
I think it is new because while we did see new agencies launch, we see new agencies launch all the time, right? But I think you're seeing the successes of like a Mischief, of Slap Global, of Orchard, right? These independent agencies that are doing really well, and I think more people are using one that as inspiration, but two, um, like Marla Taplowitz, the CEO of the 4As, she mentioned like technology has made it so much easier for
It's
someone
so easy.
to just launch their own company, and so like you're a big executive, why would you, if you don't have the position that you want at a certain company, we're seeing talent do their own thing.
Right. Wait, look at us now. Like, we're able to have this conversation with technology. Where
Right.
maybe like actually 4 or 5 years ago, we probably would have never thought about this.
Right. Exactly.
And I didn't before the pandemic. And that was the catalyst when it all changed for me. We actually celebrated our 4-year anniversary, April 16th, of doing this. And I tell students, and I look at my team on breaking and entering, and I say there's no excuse for anybody not to create something today. With AI now, with the technology we have, we can create this company, and we're looking to launch this a little bit bigger. We're looking at getting funding and doing this potentially full time or to scale this thing. So I see that as well. Like, I look at creatives and I talk with them that are at these big holding companies, and I ask them sometimes, when are you going to branch out and do your own thing?
Right.
And they're all thinking about it in the back of their heads, whether or not they actually say it on record. Brian, I'm sure we've had conversations, as I'm a pseudo journalist, of course, but
Mm.
I'm sure you've heard a lot of these great executives just planning out their next move.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I think it's interesting, right? Because, you know, people have 5-year plans, right? And what I know is that with independent agencies, there are certain agencies that plan to sell at a certain mark. And
Yeah.
then there's certain executives who plan to build their name for the reason of starting their own company. So you're right. That is just a reality of the world,
So it does. What does it mean for students? Let's hover there,
Yeah.
or not student, aspiring advertisers,
Yeah.
aspiring advertising people. I don't know. Like, it's inspiring, right? Like, to find your own niche. Like, I think you could take the model of these small agencies and apply it to your own career.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Like, the fact that they're branching off and locking in, like you just said, with these agricultural ones or Gen Z focused ones, you should apply that to your own career and think about what's your niche and what can you break into specifically. And now you have these different alternatives that you might fit into a smaller agency. There might be more options for you rather than the large holding company owned agency out there too. But yeah, think about yourself. What's your ikigai? What are you specifically passionate about? And how can you carve your own path and break into that specific field that's meant for you? And if it's not there, create your own damn thing.
Right. Right. I mean, that's what a lot of these founders are doing. Mojo Supermarket's an example of that. Mo wasn't happy with being at Jogo 5 and did his own thing. I think, like, I know executives in the industry and even non-executives, lower level people who have their own side gig, and they're, they're building their name through that. And their name is actually growing more because of their side gig. Sometimes then, like, your work doesn't always get covered, right? And that's just a reality of the industry. So how do you stand out as well, right? It's by doing more than, what maybe people are telling you to do. Maybe follow your passion or follow something that you're interested in, right? Because I mean, like, look at you, like, your name's out there, right? And like, that a big part of it is because of what you're doing, and you're good at your job, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like your name's out there for that reason. And I think people need to think about that earlier in their careers, instead of waiting till you're 40, 50 and starting your own company. Cause you could do it now, right? Or you can
Right. Thanks for the love there. And thanks for Jillian listed me on that list, the 23 Gen Zers,
Yeah.
to know. And I gotta give her a shout out, and she's welcome on anytime. Maybe we should have her on next episode.
look, it shouldn't be a vanity project, right? If you're doing your own thing. But like think about that is that a goal of yours? Like, do you want people to know who you are, right? And like if that is, then find out how you can
Yeah,
do that, you know?
totally. Love it. So that's the headline. And if they want to search that, how can they find the full article, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, just search it up on Ad Age. Hopefully, have a subscription. But if you don't, have a friend help you out.
Hey, Brian,
You
we
know,
should definitely look at some sort of code for them from this podcast, but
like
we'll we'll
from
cook that up. We'll cook that up in the background.
yeah, you're cooking, man. That's nice.
Nice.
Uh, yeah,
Rapid fire. It is 420 today. I personally do not partake. If you do, it's illegal to engage in that responsibly. Uh, but we're calling this gas or pass. This rapid fire segment. We did smash or pass for Valentine's Day. So now we're calling it gas or pass. If it's gas, we'll hit the pedal and we'll dive into the article. I have not heard of these articles.
yeah. These are the creative minds at work at breaking and answering. This is
We're doing this on a Saturday. It's 10:42. I'm in the office. Brian, we're trying. We put some effort, right?
yeah yeah.
Kick us off, Brian. What do we got? What's the first
All right.
one?
Yeah, let's do it. All right. First headline. Underrepresented talent shadows on commercial shoots behind a nascent DE&I training program.
I like that. Gas for me.
All right, let's go. So there's this Boulder, Colorado agency called Work in Progress. Their big client is Domino's. They're the creative AOR for Domino's. And, you know, they invested $130,000 on launching this program to get students, not just students, people interested in advertising, 18 and plus, on commercial shoots for their clients. So like the idea, and they already worked with, I believe, 3 or 4, you know, aspiring advertisers on this. They get these people to go on commercial shoots and shadow, you know, the creative, shadow the CMO of Domino's, you know, shadow like the directors and all that stuff. And you get to, for a week or however long the shoot is, be on set, you know, with these people. And
Heck yeah.
great experience. You get flown out to a different city probably, and you get hotel, food and everything paid for. Definitely check this out and apply, you know, because, you know, they had one person who wasn't even working in advertising, wasn't a student. She was a bartender, and now she's going to the Denver Ad School, and she found a new interest in this. So
Look at that.
yeah,
Shout out to Evan Rusek. Cooper is Denver. He's like our strategist as the Crowbar Awards that interviewed Evan, who's the co-founder and partner, accountant strategy lead at Work in Progress. So got to give him some love. Go listen to Evan's episode as well. And I'm sure they might talk about that or allude to that. But this is insane. 130 grand is no small chunk of change, especially today.
yeah,
So I love when agencies are doing this, and I'm glad we're highlighting this program. So definitely check that out. Every agency should consider something like this. So they get to go on set, see how it operates.
yeah. And the good thing is, you know, obviously the idea isn't just so Work in Progress hires you, but like you now have that connection to an agency that you otherwise wouldn't, right?
Talk about that on an interview. Talk about that on your resume. Like it's a no-brainer. If you've done it, you've helped out, you experienced it, you have those connections that vouch for you. You go above. Now, if I'm there, I'm going above and beyond. If I get this opportunity, I'm showing up with ideas. I'm doing my homework. I'm having extra waters in my back pocket. Maybe like a beer after, like get them whatever they need. Like that's just how I wouldn't just say, oh, I got in. How can I go above and beyond and those creative ideas and try to be of help and understanding that this is something that you should take advantage of.
And to your point, a lot of in some instances, students were allowed to like provide ideas that if they had on like storyboarding and like for the concept of things. So like you could potentially affect a campaign if your idea is good enough and you're on set and you have like a good idea, so
Totally.
great.
And we love to hear that type of stuff. Like from anybody, good ideas can come from anywhere. So don't feel like you have imposter syndrome. If you're nervous, give me a call. I'll give you the hype up speech you need.
Yeah, that's a great one, man.
Nice. Way to start us off with a nice gas there.
Yeah.
Brian, what do we got next?
Next one. So legend in industry, David Lubarz retires inside the BBDO leader's singular creative career.
I want to preface before I say pass that, of course, this guy is a legend. I think every aspiring advertiser needs to go study him, see the work, understand, learn from the career, and heck, maybe try to emulate it. Like for your first job, like there's nothing wrong with stealing like an artist or taking some of his notes there and applying it until you can get your own voice. So I will pass, but that is my advice to students on that.
Yeah, and check out, we did a follow-up article, 21 of his greatest ads. Check it out. My favorite, Snickers, with Betty White.
And I'm passing because this is my invitation for David to come on Breaking and Entering. You have an open seat whenever, whether it's on Breaking with Brian or the full the main episode, the original segment of Breaking and Entering. You're always welcome. So
and look,
much love.
We could do a whole episode with him. I'm totally cool with that.
Call him up, Brian. Call him up.
I might just do that. So yeah.
Can you get him on speaker right now?
We're not that close, but no.
Who could you get anybody right now? Like who's the big, like who could you call up right now?
Ooh.
On a Saturday at 4:20 at 11:49 your time. Who do you think? You don't have to do it.
I probably
would answer.
I think the biggest advertising person would probably be Kristen Cavallo.
You think she would answer right now?
I think she would if she's not traveling, if she's not like enjoying her life, as she retires and enjoys her life. But Walt Gear as well, the chief experience I could probably get as well. And there's a few people I think.
Do they when they pitch you, like, do they just say, hey, you got to check out this thing that we're launching? Like, is it just like a text message? Like, or is it like a screenshot?
For some people, yeah. For some people, like, they, because like if you build a relationship as a reporter, like some people will message you instead of sending a release, just like say real quick, like, hey, what do you think of this idea? And a lot of times I don't, it's not like I pick it, but sometimes, but they just know it's like a quicker way of doing it. And, if you build that trust with certain people. Now that doesn't mean these are people that I've written stuff where not everyone is happy with certain things that I write. Like that, like that's the truth, right? Like you're never going to please everyone. So like, while these are people that I've written stuff that they like, these are also people that, I've written stuff where they didn't want out there. Or they didn't like, how it was. So the respect comes from the fact that like you are a real journalist and you don't take shit. So that's what it comes down to, Yeah. But I think those are and Johnny Bauer is another I probably could get on. And he'd be great. You should check him out. He'd be a great person to interview. Former chief strategy officer of Joe LaFive, launched his own consultancy. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back on track though, because what is the next article?
Yeah. Next one. All right. Hamid Khan is expanding AI's role in the creative process, but avoiding depicting humans.
Pass. I'm going to go pass, Brian. Does that hurt your feelings? Do you feel like that is disrespectful in any way, shape, or form?
Nah, man. Look, it's all good. And like, that's a bigger topic too that we could get into at some point, like AI and the way it's used in the industry. There's some backlash now, on how it's working. So let's save that one.
Well, now you kind of captured my attention. Maybe I'll regret it. But what's the next one, Brian?
All right. So this is the last one, I think. Ex-butcher shop employees launched new venture after the agency closed without warning.
I think this ties nicely into the startup headline from the headline of the week. I think this is relevant. Let's go with gas.
All right. So this one requires a little backstory, a little bit. So last year, the San Francisco agency Butcher Shop, I wrote the story on them shutting down suddenly, and this was the agency that look, they're around 100 people, not the biggest agency, but they, were a former small agency, the award winner, and they were doing well for themselves, and it just closed down randomly. And we wrote that story. Um, I kept it in mind. I had heard there were some details in there that on why the agency closed, but I couldn't confirm it. Cut to this, story 8 months, not 8 months later, but about a year later, I, hear from this agency, Strange Family, that was founded from former Butcher Shop employees. And, I thought that was interesting and, decided to cover that. But in, doing research, I found that there was a lawsuit between the former founder of Butcher Shop and his financial advisor at the time of Butcher Shop's running. And the lawsuit alleges on Trevor Hubbard's side, which is the founder of Butcher Shop, that the financial advisor had, in a way, defrauded the agency, had, was stealing money from employee 401ks and using it for his benefit, was giving bad financial advice and hiding, like documents that said, the agency owed money to like the government and things like that. Right. And that's what it alleges. I'm not saying it's an ongoing case, right? So we'll see where that ends up. There was a counterclaim placed from the financial advisor, who, said those allegations weren't true. And we'll see where that ends up in court.
Oh my goodness, Brian.
Yeah.
Are you going to do some investigative reporting on this? You're going to have to get into some documents, some legal documents, and
you can read. We actually posted the full lawsuit in the story.
Oh my good. I thought this was creativity, a good, nice little niche. All just fun, making a meaningful change to culture. But is this a problem with independent agencies? Can this happen in holding company agencies? I'm not sure. You tell me, is this something to watch out for? A red flag that this could happen at these smaller shops that keep adjusting? I don't know. I'm just reacting live. You tell me your thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think, there are financial allegations across the board in the advertising industry. I wouldn't say it's just independent agency focused. I think the impact is just greater, right? Mm-hmm. If it's an independent agency, I mean, in the lawsuit alleges, the plan was for Trevor was looking to sell the agency. That's what it says in the lawsuit. He was hoping to build it up. The revenue, God, I'm trying to remember the revenue. I think they were at $15 million of revenue. And, that's a lot, for
yeah.
And so the goal was he was talking to PE companies. He was talking to certain companies that were valuing the company at 30 million. So this was the plan. And for whatever reason, it just shut down to the point where, Trevor says that he owed about $5 billion in liabilities. And, that's according to the lawsuit, but it is something I think when you join an independent agency, there's no way I think that the employees could have predicted this or anything like that. It was a shock. I spoke to Ben McNutt, who was the former CCO at Butcher Shop, and he's the co-founder and ECD at Strange Family, the new agency. And he said he was devastated, and so it's I think this is a unique situation, right? And there's no way the employees could have probably prepared for something like that.
Yeah.
So
I think for aspiring advertisers, learn from this, read this story. Maybe there's some red flags that you should look out for. Just in general, I'm not pointing fingers at any one person. I don't know nearly enough, but it's just something to watch out for. See what that blueprint was and maybe ask some questions. Like if you're starting a job, dig around a little bit, make sure there's security there. If you're at any shop, really, It's a really good case study to look out for. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think also the positive was that, Ben and his co-founders were able to start their own agency, take, half of their clients are now butcher shop clients, and half of their clients are their own the clients that they found. One of those clients are Nike Kids, that's a pretty
Nice.
nice client. And, it's there's a good ending there, right? Because like it's a 20-person agency, but they've been working for 8 months and they have like a roster of like 10 or 15 clients, and they're still working and they're still keeping it going. So I would check out their work. I think it takes a lot of, determination to start your own shop, not too long after something like that happens. So I would check out the article, check out the agency. I think it's a great name. And, they have an office in, Oakland, and they have an office in Mexico. So,
Yep.
check them out,
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
We'll stay close and let me know. We'll keep this on going. Um, Great. So that wraps up gas or pass. Um, let's talk high level, I think, for a special topic here. My microphone. Let me check my microphone real quick. The special topic was something about reviews, right, Brian? We're seeing some clients up for review, which means they're looking for new agencies potentially. Maybe they're restructuring their financials. They need to increase budget, decrease budget. Maybe they're not happy with their current agency of record or their project agencies. So they're putting up RFPs, basically inviting agencies to uh, apply, compete for the business. So what is going on there? What my mic keeps going up. What clients would you say, Brian, are going up for review right now? Can we talk about that? Maybe what does this mean for students? Just want to take 5-10 minutes here just to keep people up to date.
Yeah, look, reviews are just the nature of the industry. And while there are agencies popping up that are saying they don't want to participate in reviews, the truth is that new business is new business, and it works how it does. And, I am hearing there are more reviews out there than last year right now. And, a lot of it is projects, but I'm hearing there's more AORs. The eBay has a media review ongoing. And the big one, creatively as GM, because that's like, it's broken down by different, I'm hearing there's a lot of agencies in there involved in
GM
that.
and the car brands within.
Right. Exactly. And I think, I wanted to ask you this actually, which I thought was a interesting topic. It's like with these reviews happening, like can students or like aspiring advertisers like prepare for this? Because I think if I was trying to get into an industry, I would be following these reviews to see where this ends up. I would try to message, the potential winning agencies, try to find out who's like in the pitch, because we oftentimes include that in stories.
Yep.
So like find the people and say like, hey, like, just build a relationship that way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Know what agencies are competing for that review, and maybe talk with Brian and see who's got some leverage. And if they win that piece of business, they're going to need to hire. They're going to be super busy, right? So maybe don't talk to the new business team, but talk to some of the creatives. But like, hey, like maybe you're actually working on this. Like you might not be legally allowed to talk about it, but I wish you best of luck. Here's a little research I did on how Gen Z thinks about Jeep and why they would buy a Jeep and what they like about it. Here's a couple taglines that I wrote. If you do that, then they might be busy, but they might think of you when it's time to hire if they win. So That's a really good strategy. It's also a good opportunity to learn about new business as a career field. It's what I do.
Yeah.
And maybe like reaching out to some people on the new business team in general. If they're not in the review, talk with them about the process. Harley Griffiths is at Havas Chicago. I can connect you with. He's fantastic. Because that is a field to enter, and people forget about that. We talk about art direction, copywriting, strategy, production quite a bit on this show, but there is a whole vertical for just answering these RFPs and doing this for a living. So that's my high level. And then also, if that agency is up for review, the incumbent is probably not going to win for the most part. I don't know
Yeah,
what the stats are. I'm just assuming. So
there was
don't network there potentially.
yeah, there was a report. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like 20% of incumbents win a pitch, and so you're right. Um, but that doesn't mean that they're not they don't have other business. But like I think it's paying attention to the moment. As someone that if you're trying to follow the news, I think pay attention to the moment, see where's business going. And, I think about like when OKRP won Burger King, I think that was a big surprise a couple years ago. And, that was a big win. And now they're merged. And like, you know, if you were able to get in the ground floor of that, like maybe like you were able to work on Burger King and now you're able to work on these other clients now. And so you never know the trajectory. And I think also new business as a career, some of the best, most interesting executives I know are on the new business side. And, I think people try to, they think a lot about creativity, right? But it's like new business is creative, like building relationships with, people, understanding how the business works. These are people that know how the entire industry works.
Yeah.
And it's a great field to just learn, the entire industry.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do a blueprint
Mm.
episode where I just deep dive what does it mean to be in new business to uncover that. So
I think that's a great idea. Like you could have some like chief growth officers and stuff. And
yeah.
I think that could be cool.
Yeah. All right. That pretty much wraps things up. I think that was nice and tight. You got some good stuff out there. The moral of the story is if you want to break in and thrive in advertising, you have to know this stuff. You have to be smarter than the next person, stay in tune, know the trends. So that's why I love this show, Brian. Thank you for coming on. Any big announcements that is coming from Ad Age that you want the world to know, be on the lookout for? Any announcements on your end?
Just a few. Check out, so our Smart Agency Awards are ongoing right now. The registrations are open. If I'm an aspiring advertiser, I would check out that award, especially as these are some of the hotter shops that aren't, holding company shops. And, there's a lot of them. We get hundreds of applications a year. And, these are probably in your region, wherever you are. Like there's so many shops out there.
Yep.
So
We'll do an episode to talk
Yeah.
about the winners like we did with the A-list. I think that'll be crucial. Maybe we can get like the number one, like the CEO or the CCO on. I think that'd be a call.
Yeah. And check out the prior winners. Look out for this one as it, wraps up. Probably be in the summer when we announce that. The Young Creatives Award wrapped up. Deadline was April 11th. If you didn't get a chance, please look out for that next year. It starts February. So just keep that on your calendar or whatever. And look out for that too. Cause that's going to be something to look forward to and be inspired by, I think.
Yeah. I think time in this industry helps. You'll get to understand the deadlines. You'll know when these things start popping up. It's something that I struggle with only being 2 years in this industry.
Right.
Like I have to being like the awards manager, comms manager, new business lead, like I need to stay in tune with all this. So we will keep you educated and that will be our journey to help people out.
Cool.
All right, Brian, nice work. If anybody has any questions listening, reach out to me, reach out to Brian on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Try our best to get back to you as soon as possible. But this is always great. We'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll have another episode out.
Thanks, man. And awesome. That was great.
Heck yeah.